In this short video, I want to show you how you can use AppScript from Google Sheet to extract data from REST API, in particular, in this case, from GraphQL endpoints. So what I want to do is the following. I have a unified schema defined with Anypoint DataGraph, which is accessing two APIs. So one is the customers API, the other one is the address API, and I would like to fetch the data from these two APIs and display it in my Google Sheet. In order to do so, what I would need to do is first of all define a query which I want to execute in DataGraph. So here I have already a query defined. I will just paste here. Okay, and when I let it run, you can see it returns a result to me. And this result contains data from the customers API as well as a linked data to the address API for each of the customers. It has different rows which I receive in the response, and this is what I want to now use in Google Sheet to create a table. So let's go back into Google Sheet. The first thing what I need to do is I will need to download and create a script for fetching the REST APIs or GraphQL endpoints from Google Script. So therefore I click on Extension, AppScript. It will open a new tab. Here you can see I have my app script which I can now write. So what I need to do is I need to go to the GitHub repository in the API activist fetch GraphQL, and there you will find a code.js file. I will put the repository URL below this video so you can download it. From here you need to just copy everything what you see here in the code file and paste it into your Google Sheet script and give it a name. So let's say this is demo Anypoint DataGraph Google Sheet, and then you are ready. Basically save the script, and now I can use these three functions. The first one is fetch JSON, the second one is fetch full response, and the last one is fetch JSON offline. So this is the only one which is fetching actively the different data from GraphQL endpoints when you need to provide a URL, the client ID and client secret of Anypoint DataGraph, the query as payload, and the XPath of the different node and field you want to extract. You can do a similar request from the fetch full response, but now in order to get the data, what you do is you don't extract it directly. You just extract the full response and save it and use the following function, which is fetch JSON offline, where you point the payload, the result of the first one, fetch full response, and provide then the node information you want to extract from. We are going to use the first one, and if we have time we can also look into the second one. So now let's go into Google Sheet and try to extract the data. So in Google Sheet, what I will do now is I will enter here. Let me first say this is the name, then here is the first name, then I have the last name, I have here email, maybe street, postal code, city, and state. These are the values I would like to get from the DataGraph QL. And now I'm going to fetch the JSON first, and the first parameter I can see here is the URL. So basically I need here the DataGraph URL, the second one is the client ID and client secret, and then a payload. So let's grab first of all the URL. So I will get the endpoint here, copy the URL from here, go back into my Excel, provide the URL. Now I need to have the client ID, client secret, and the payload, as well as the XPath. Yeah? So now let's do it first with the client ID. The client ID I can just use from here. Then the client secret. Let's paste it here. Then I need to provide a query for it. And the query need to be very similar like the one you have here, but it should be in a native GraphQL format. Means you need to put it in a format like, let me go back into my Google Sheet. So here, first of all, what I need to provide is here the query parameter, as well as here the query itself, and the query need to be here in a single line. So I can basically paste my query here. So let's copy it and paste it directly here. You can see it will grab a lot of things here. So what I need to do is I need to just clean up here a few things. So everything need to be in one line. Let me do it quickly, and I will just continue the video from there. This is a cleaned version of my query. So what I can do now is, you can see that here the quotes are not really correct. So I need to mask it here. So I can use for this the CHR code for the double quotes, and just copy it across the different quotes I want to mask here. Let's do it for this one. Then I have it here, as well as here at the end, and this is the last one. So this was my query itself, and now as a result, what I want to do, I want to extract the XPath. The XPath is like what I want to display. So I have here data, I have customer, and if I would like to display the first name, what I need to do is I need to say data slash, one second, there's something still wrong. Fixed it now. So the issue was here that the quotes need to be masked with the CHR code for the double quotes, which I've done. And now I will type in here the customer node. Let's say I want to retrieve the very first line, and I would like to retrieve the very first name, which should be here, basically this one, Max. Yeah, and if I enter here, you can see it has been retrieved. The same thing I can now do for the last name. It will retrieve Max here, but I need to replace this with last name, and this should be Mule. And this way you can now continue and put here the email. The email is from here. Here it should be still the last name. So last name. And if I would like to put a more dynamic here, then I add an index column at the beginning where I say this is 1, 2, 3, and then I can scroll it down like this, and here I can replace, let's say this is then A2. Again, connect it with the right line, A2. This is fine. Enter. It's there. Same I can do for the other attributes which I have extracted for email, for last name, and so on. And then I can continue here and build the whole thing. Node not available here because email is not available like this. So it's email. Here slash is missing. So it should be available now. And I can put it down here. And you see it has only 10 records. So the one which are here are not valid, not found. So I can delete these rows and continue with the streets and so on. So it's really simple to get now the data and fetch the data using a cell, column or formula with fetch JSON. Let's quickly complete this exercise. So we have it for street, postal code and so on as well. So we see here we have the email. So this is then the address. So I need to define it again. So this is data, address, and in the address I have not B1, this is A2, and I need to have the first address street. No, it's not correct. So let me see, what is it? It is address and street. So I have customer. Okay, so this is the issue. Wrong node. So here I have the customer node. Customer. Then under customer I have the address node, and this should be fine. This will receive the correct data. Here I can copy it here as well. And this should be A. And this is postal code. Postal, I guess. Then we have here, this is A, and here we have the city. And the last one is state. So let's copy it here. State A2. Done. And now I can use it downstream and get all the data. So this is how simple you could use basically the Google Sheet formula in order to fetch the data from REST API or even from a GraphQL endpoint. The link to the repository I will put in the description below of this video, so you can download and build the same for your use cases. Thank you.